Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. There's quite a bit happening this week, so let's get to showing you what's going on. So yesterday we had the guys here from RDS who fit like weighing systems, and they're linked in with Topcon GPS as well. And they've been putting a new weigher on our forklift, and the reason for that is because those of you who have watched some of my older videos will know that we are swapping our Keenan feeder for an Emily Duo Mix bucket. And the reason why we're doing that is because we only use the Keenan feeder for mixing dry cereals anyway and feeding that out. We don't use it for silage. We feed all our silage with our McHale straw shredder, and we wanted to have something on the forklift so that we could weigh what we're feeding into our cows. The reason why we were getting rid of the Keenan essentially is because there's the Keenan feeder, there's the tractor on the front of it, and that's all they ever do all year. They sit in the shed for most of the year, doing nothing, not a lot. They're only working when there's cows in, and we have to use the forklift to fill them anyway, so we might as well just use the forklift to feed the cows. That's what makes sense. So I'll show you the bit of kit that RDS put on for us yesterday. So here we go, here's the RDS weigh log that they put on yesterday. We can go in here, we can change all the attachments in this. So we've got all the different bits, auger buckets, bale spikes, whatever else. And that's just like got a tare weight for each of the implements on the front. We put the black bucket on at the minute, whatever. It's all piped into the hydraulic, so it works off the hydraulic pressure. As you lift that boom up, it goes through some sensors and it displays the weight on here of what's in the bucket. And how we're going to use it is when we have the auger bucket on there, we're going to know how much we need to feed each group of cows, so we can essentially scoop up as much as we need for that group for the day of our pre-mix, and we can then just go along and feed them. Should work really, really well. And like I say, it's going to get rid of 2 or 3 bits of kit that we don't need to be using, which means that we can concentrate on keeping the bits of kit we use all the time a bit newer. Something else we can actually use that Emily Duo Mix bucket for is we can use it to do all of our pre-mixes. So with that weigher, we can take every element of the mix, put them whatever we need, put accurately into a pile what we want for that mix particularly, and then we can come along with the Duo Mix bucket, we can mix it all together and then just tip it out in a pile, in a bunker as a pre-mix, and then we can come along every day, take whatever we need and just feed it to the cows. So I'm really, really looking forward to having that. It'll make life a lot easier for us, a lot simpler, and like I say, it'll be a lot less kit to be looking after. Hopefully we'll get the Emily Duo Mix bucket next week, as long as the guys at the borders let it in, because it's coming from France. So fingers crossed. Come on guys, stop worrying about fishing. I've got a bucket that needs delivering. Something else that'll be pretty cool with that weigher as well is we can set accumulation targets. So we can, if we're loading a lorry for example, we can just keep loading it and it'll weigh every single bucket full until you get to your lorry weight, and it'll tell you how much you've got left to put in the lorry, which will be really good. And something else I think it'll be useful for is when we're putting muck out, we'll be able to weigh every single grab full of muck, so we can get the right amount of muck per acre, or if we want to put more muck in one place, we've got a fairly accurate idea of exactly what we're putting in what field and so on and so forth. I think it's probably going to be one of those tools that we've got it for one reason, but we'll probably use it all the time now we've got it for various different things. We'll be able to sort of see how much silage we're getting off the fields and so on and so forth. Like, it's going to be really, really good. Something else that happens at this time of year, pretty much every year, is me and Dad turn into concreting contractors, and we just spend all of our time casting concrete walls and God knows what else, which is essentially what we're doing this week. We've got a few walls to concrete to cast in. We've got one down in a cattle yard down there, and we've got some in the feed store because I suppose it's because you're bringing the cows and you've been busy doing other things. But yeah, we've got a busy week of concreting. We did some concreting here. Yesterday we concreted a bit of flooring by the house. I'll show you that now. So here's what we did yesterday. We had to dig this out, put some new drains in, as you can see there, which run through to here. And there's another drain that teed into it along here as well. We've got to paint the walls now and put the oil tank back here, because the other side of that wall is the boiler for the house, and the house is a big old house, and realistically we'd like to put an air source heat pump somewhere here, and the government are supposed to be bringing out some grants on that, so that's why we've laid this. We'll bring the oil back, and hopefully when the grants come out we can apply and heat this big old house with an air source heat pump. So I'm at the back wall of the feed store now. Essentially it's this wall that is cracked. I don't know if you can see it here, these lines here, that's cracked, and that pillar's going to come out. and this back wall here is also going to come out. The one on the other side, we'd already done that one. Dad had rebuilt that a few years ago. I say, but actually probably like 10 or 15 years ago with some 9-inch blocks. That one's really strong. So we're going to take these walls out. We're going to cast them all up and put rebar in there, which is where Dad's gone now. Dad's gone to get some reinforcing bar, and then we should have some decent walls to be able to push against. We can use them for putting in our premixes and things like that, but we can also use them for extra grain storage as well when we need to. So yeah, they need doing really. It's a desperate job. We probably should have done it before now. So now we're on the inside of the shed. You can see this wall here has been rebuilt with the 9-inch blocks, and then this is the old 6-inch blocks. My granddad used to love buying seconds as well, so they're probably a bit crap. You can see there's a good crack down there. That's the side wall with the big crack in it. We can take both those walls out and re-shutter them, and then from this middle pillar out along here, we're going to put another wall in, which we can then utilise that side and this side for 2 separate bunkers, because at the minute that's my finishing ration, which I'm currently bagging up because I haven't got my Emily Duo mix bucket, and then I've got my growing ration in a different shed, and we'll be able to put them in 2 separate bunkers. We can use them in the summer for extra grain storage and whatever else. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty good. And oh, just here actually, anyone wants a roller mill, I've got one for sale, hit me up. Something that's happening at the minute off farm is COP26. Now, I know a lot of farmers are keeping their eye on proceedings because of all the farmer bashing that tends to go on at these events. And what COP26 is, if you don't know, it's Conference of Parties, and I think it's 26 because I think it's the 26th ever one, but I might be wrong. But essentially what it is, it's a climate change conference, and they're all talking about greenhouse gases and ways of reducing greenhouse gases and fossil fuel use and so on and so forth. So for all these people to reduce their fossil fuel use, they've flown thousands of people from all across the world to Glasgow, which, yeah, great work guys, really helping. But what's going on there, essentially, I wanted to write an article about it for Farmers Weekly, but unfortunately I've already had to submit my next article for Farmers Weekly, so by the time it comes around to doing another one, it'll all been blown over and people will have kind of forgot about it a little bit, so I won't be doing that. But I'm hoping someone else picks it up, one of the other guys, if you're listening or watching. Yeah, if you could pick up, that'd be cool. Get something written about COP26. But I will probably do a video about COP26 at some point. It might be one of my weekly videos, might be thrown into there, or it might be an extra video that I add on. But so far, one of my favorite little snippets that has come from COP26 is that on the menu that all these people have been given, there's a big long menu, and every single product on there has a carbon footprint. So it tells you how much greenhouse gas has been emitted to make that particular product. And there is plant-based things on there, which is what everyone keeps telling us, we should be plant-based, and there's meat on there as well. And on that particular menu is a plant-based croissant. So not one that contains dairy, not one that's got butter in it, which is what most people use to make these flaky pastries, but actually a plant-based croissant. And it emits some, I can't remember exactly the number, but I think it was like 0.05 grams of carbon per kilogram or something like that. But it was, yeah, however much it emits anyway. It emits so much. But next to it is a bacon butty. Now the bacon butty actually emits less greenhouse gas than the plant-based croissant. So if you want to save the planet, save it one bacon butty at a time. Go buy yourself some good quality British pork, because the pork industry is in a mess at the minute. So support the pork industry, buy yourself some quality British bacon, put it in a bun and save the planet. Scrap your plant-based croissants. It's now Wednesday morning. I'm just walking the dogs. It is absolutely freezing this morning. My hands are frozen solid. They are so cold. You can see this field here. This is a cover crop that we put in. This is one we mixed ourselves. It's got loads of oats in it. It's got some daikon radish. It's got some stubble turnips. It's got a few different bits and pieces. It looks pretty good actually. This top bit was actually put on at a slightly lesser rate, because this top piece is a really nice bit of soil. The rest of the field is horrible. Hopefully we'll get to graze that with some sheep. I might have to go and buy a few store lambs later on in the year and yeah, graze them on there. Must be mad. So we're now at the end of the track. This is a 25 acre block of winter barley. That bit just above where the dogs is where the muck heap was, which was a bit heavier, but it's come really well. This is direct drilled with the claydon straight into the stubble with the muck applied on the top, and I'm really pleased with it. I mean, it looks awesome. If this gets really ahead of itself, might well get some sheep across this as well, and just rather than using a growth regulator. So we'll have to just wait and see. To be honest, I couldn't really be happy with how the autumn drilling campaign has gone this year. We got on when everything went direct in with the claydon. A lot of it had muck applied and claydon just flew through it. Really pleased with how it went. And then because we were done and made a good job and people were quite impressed with it, we've got quite a bit of contract drilling this year too, so that was also good. Got out and done that, and hopefully we've helped a few people out, and because we've come a bit wet now, come a bit cold, people are going to probably start and struggle a little bit now if they've left it too late. So yeah, I'm hoping we've helped a few guys out to get a bit done. So that was pretty good, really. Actually, what I think about it, if you are wanting some direct drilling doing in the spring, just let me know, because I like to get people booked in, and just so I know where I'm making for, because I know I've got some stereo work to do, but I'll normally put spring beans in first and I'll change all the kit on the drill. So if you could let me know what you wanted doing and when, or even you're just interested and you wanted a price, yeah, get in touch and I'm quite happy to oblige. So I've been busy this morning putting this shuttering up. This is some shuttering we made years ago. We've used it to do troughs and cast walls in and whatever. The reason why we aren't buying concrete panels is a lot of these walls aren't actually 15 foot long or 20 foot long or whatever, so we have to use these shuttering to fill them in. And we've actually had to make some brackets. I don't know if you can see, but we've had to make these brackets here so that we cast it in and just catch it into this pillar, and the same on the other end. So we've got all that up. It's about time for dinner, and then we'll start mix some concrete and fill it up. So we'll just mix it up and tip it into the bucket, and then when we get to the shuttering, we'll put it in as best we can. So as you can see, we've now got it all filled up and troweled off at the top. This we put in last night. So it's now Thursday morning. This was put in yesterday afternoon, and it's relatively hard. We'll leave this shuttering up probably till tomorrow afternoon, till Friday afternoon, and we'll take it down and we can go and put it up somewhere else ready for another wall. But then that should be cast in inside there. Actually, I should have pointed out in the first place that we actually put a sort of lattice of rebar. So there's 3 going crossways, and then there's some going up and down, and they're all wired together so that it stays very sturdy. Because essentially what happened last winter was the cows were in there and they just came along, and Dad was somewhere in the yard close by and he was like, what was that noise? And he walked out and the wall had just fell over. So we want to make sure this is super strong, and that's why we put all of those rebars in there. They've been drilled into the concrete, into the floor, and then they are wired into those new brackets that have been put on either end as well. So it should be super sturdy. While that concrete is setting, however, I'm going to clear the back of this shed up. I've got rid of everything that was in here, and I'm going to take this wall down. You can really see it now. There's like a pillar on the other side of this, but yeah, it's all going to come down, take down this wall and take down that wall. So when the shuttering comes down on the other wall that we've shuttered up earlier in the week, it can come back up here and be put up, and we'll go 7 foot high, and then we'll probably have to just put a block along the top. Literally just realised how wobbly this is. You can see there. A good push and it'll be over, but I'm going to take it down with a sledgehammer because, yeah, I don't want to break my sheets and I don't want to cause an accident and hurt somebody. So as you can see, not a lot holding that wall up. We'll take some of these good blocks and we'll clean them, like I say, ready to put back on the top when we're done to reach the cladding. But yeah, then we'll knock everything else up and that'll go in the rubble pile, and we'll have this one down as well. Right, so that is it. We've got these 2 walls knocked down. As you can see behind me, we've got a big pile of good blocks that are going to get cleaned up, get all the mortar off them and get reused, and Dad's already done a pallet full just there as well. We'll get them all sorted, and they're always dead handy to have around the yard because there's always somewhere we can use them for something or another. So we'll get them all sorted. We haven't managed to get the shuttering down from the wall that we did earlier in the week. I thought we'd get there to this afternoon, but it just hasn't happened. But it's gone for, it's like 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, so probably should go and feed some cows now and water dogs and get everything sorted for another day. Right guys, that's it for another week. Thank you very much for watching. If you wouldn't mind giving me a like and a subscribe, that would be really, really useful to me. Next week, I know this week kind of been a little bit boring, a lot of odds and sods jobs going on, but been super busy getting ready for cows. Next week, however, I should, all being well, have my new Emily bucket turn up, and that would be awesome. So we'll show you that arriving, and we'll do a bit of a review on that and just go over reasons why I bought it and one thing or another. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. But until then, have a good one.